Hey guys, welcome back. This video today is actually very long overdue because I think I'd mentioned in one of my videos in previous years that I was going to try and make a subsequent video for the eligibility, no, not eligibility, the actual application process. I think the window opened yesterday, and you guys have till the 20th, so I just sort of thought I'll jump on before work and do a Zoom share of what's actually required. I will try and make it as short and brief as possible. But yeah, generally, this video will benefit anybody who has scaled through eligibility or any medical student who is trying to apply when the eligibility window is open. Yeah, so I will just try and jump straight into it. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. What I've done is I will be going past the first page with personal details. That should be fairly straightforward. When you're starting out there, to fill out your application, the different sections, as we will shortly see. The first bit is your personal details. So that might already be pre-filled. So just make sure you're going through all of that. Correcting name, errors, spelling errors in your name, things like that, address, NI numbers, that kind of thing. I think the only extra sort of section since when I first applied was that they're now asking if you would like to be considered for less than full-time training. Don't be afraid to click yes if you want to. To the best of my understanding, if you are somebody who is a visa holder, so you're the main sort of applicant for you have or you require a visa for this job, a tier 2 visa, and you're the main person. I think my understanding is that dependent on the number of hours, you cannot do more than 80% less than full-time training. But if you don't require a visa, you're dependent on somebody else who does not need that, then you can go as low as you want. But yeah, obviously try and please double check that and confirm that. So that's the extra bit and that personal details space. Don't be afraid to click yes if you really feel like you want that less time to take care of your family, to plan, do something else that you want, or just rest, Life on the wards can be a bit hectic sometimes. So if you want to have that, leeway, in terms of having less time or less than full time as it is called, then obviously click yes to that. The only thing that you should know is that going less than full time could potentially affect your income. So you probably will be receiving way less salary, and your allocations for annual leave and things like that. I think they have to be prorated as well, because obviously you're already having 1 day or 2 days, depending on the number or the amount of your allocation for work. You're already having that much time, less than your colleagues. But yeah, if that's something that you want to do, definitely go ahead and do that. So let me just share my screen now and we shall go on. Let me see that I'm actually in the right place. There we go. So yeah, my screen, I just really hope this is actually recorded. So my screen should be here now. So like I mentioned, I already went past the first bit, which is personal, but I'll try to explain what that is. Now, we're on the second part of our eligibility application. Now, just sort of going through the screen, obviously you would already know that this is supposed to be done through Oriel if you've done your eligibility application. At this point, you're just sort of going on. It's a fairly straightforward application, but I understand the need to obviously be thorough and not make any mistakes. So I'll try and clarify some things based on some of the questions that I've gotten as well. So your personal details first. Now we're on to part 2 of the application form itself, which is eligibility. Are you currently a student at a UK medical school? Yes or no, whatever applies to you. Your nationality as well, pick that. And then you select whatever your nationality is. Are you a United Kingdom or Irish national? Again, yes or no. And then just go down here to next. Okay, now the next, so if you can see, obviously it's automatically saved. The next bit here is your fitness to practice. So this is usually that place where people sort of close their eyes and click yes or no. Don't do that, just read through. So basically what this is trying to assess is that you are fit for the job. So if you have some criminal convictions or things that need to be cleared here, you would be clicking yes to that. And then you should be providing details and also attaching this email that they've talked about here. So you should be completing the FTP declaration form found in the resource bank and sending that email to your relevant foundation school or training program once you've accepted the offer. But if you've not, then you click no, and you go on. Yeah, so if you could click that little question mark that just by the side, they would give you some more explanation as well. So here it says, you do not need to tell us about convictions, cautions, warnings, or reprimands, which are deemed protected under the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act 1974, exceptions Order 1975 as amended by the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act 1974. And yeah, pretty much there's some protected offences that you might not need to reveal, but if you have anything, you want to be honest and be really revealing that, and obviously attaching that form. Next is our our references. I have gotten quite a number of questions for references in the past. Now, if you read the first bit, like I said, this is a pretty self-explanatory form. If you read the first bit, it actually tells you who qualifies to be a referee. So they've said your referee must be from your medical school. So you're not going to be getting a referee from, somebody. If you're somebody who's had like a long gap out of school, you need to actually contact your school to provide this referee based on what they're saying. So they must be from your medical school, and there's a wide variety of options. So it could be a professor, a senior lecturer, reader, director of clinical studies, or a person holding an honorary medical school contract as advised by a medical school. Now, ideally, your referee should have known you for 1 year, or at least for a minimum of 6 months, and they should be aware of your performance during all years spent at medical school. So you're not going to be, sending an email to your favorite senior or whatever you call the person at school. You want to look for one of your teachers that ideally sort of was in a good standing, if you will, with you. Somebody who would obviously be able to give them that information that they need. Now you fill in their details. Again, fairly straightforward. So the title, the full name, surname, the job title, and contact email address. Now, when it comes to the GMC or GDC registration number, obviously, if you're not working in the UK, they don't have one, so not applicable. Next bit here is our primary medical qualification. I think this is fairly straightforward. The only thing I want to ensure that people are doing is making sure that you're actually choosing your right degree, so qualification. If you had an MD-CHB, which is what most of the people in the UK would have had, you put that in. I had an MD. We did more time than those in the UK, and people in Europe generally do that. So you should be putting that there. If you had an MBBS or a BMBS, yeah, put that in, but make sure you're putting in the right qualification name, title, right qualification. Entry date into medical school, put that in. Day of qualification, put that in. Again, if you click there, if you currently are in undergraduate training, please insert your expected graduation date. So here they've said you should put in your graduation date. Normally, your day of qualification, from what I remember, would be the time that you actually pass that examination, right? And that should be on your diploma, usually. It might be very different from your graduation. Obviously, those that are like the COVID cohort would know that some of you may not have even graduated yet. So the day you actually qualified would be what you put in there. But from what they've said here, if currently in undergraduate training, insert your expected graduation date here, well, the relevant one. Medical school, the only thing here is I've already gone ahead and put other, because obviously the other universities here are UK universities mostly. So if you're an international medical graduate, you're putting in other, and then you're putting in the name of your actual university, putting the country. Are you a current final year medical student? Yes or no, as applicable. Now this bit for monitoring information. So this, if you notice, this is just self-satisfy the Equality Act, really, I think. If you notice that none of these are actually compulsory, right? But you should still put in something. You are quite able to put in, I prefer not to specify there. When you come down to the second bit here, for those applying to Northern Ireland, it's a bit different in the sense that they actually want you to specify, the kind of church that you actually go to. So not specified could actually be another option you might want to play with there. if you're not too keen. Then indicating your marital status, not specified, single, married, other, as applicable. Again, here you can say prefer not to say. Now your declaration, this is obviously what you would put in to satisfy they've actually read through all that needs to be read and satisfy what you're writing this in best faith, and you're actually, you know, being honest about what you're saying. So number one, I acknowledge that it's my responsibility to review the applicant's handbook and familiarize myself with the application process for this year. You check that, confirm that you're aware that information that providing any false or misleading information will result in the withdrawal of your allocation or offer. So you read through all of that, and you tick, obviously you need to tick through, read through your withdrawal statement if that's something you're considering. Read through that if you're a UK medical graduate, and then you tick and you go on to next. Obviously I'm not doing any of that now, I'm just showing you what is needed. Now, this is for people who are interested in applying for the Foundation Priority Programme. Now, this is basically one of the new programs that was introduced a while ago to, I think it was to sort of try to attract people to areas that would not ideally be filled, would be underfilled. Yeah, so if you're interested in doing that, apply yes or no, and then you go on. The next is your specialized foundation program. Now, when I applied, this was called the special circumstances. So this applies to people who sort of think, oh, sorry, this is a specialized, sorry. This was called, it had different names then. I know there was the psychiatry, there was the, so it had different names then. So this is basically those selections that have now been put out to support those who want to do research, leadership, teaching, things like that. I think it was called the Academic Education Fellowship and the something like that before. But yeah, basically you would have a block of time usually sort of dedicated to support, whether it's research or teaching or leadership. So they're usually only a select few slots or tracks for these kind of jobs, so not everybody gets them. So if that's something that you're interested in, again, yes or no. Yeah, so if you had done that, there would be white space. So white space basically is free text, so you put in what questions would have been asked. Now pre-allocation. Now pre-allocation before was called special circumstances, I believe. So for people who think that they actually need to be in a particular region, maybe for family issues, care needs, health needs, you might want to take yes to this. So if we go and click on that, yeah, well, pre-allocation previously known as special circumstances. So if you believe that there's actually something that you require you to stay in a particular region, you want to obviously place your plead your case and clicking yes to that. Reasonable adjustments. This is very, very essential to those who would require extra time in the SGT. So if you have a disability, you're pregnant, you're, you know, on maternity leave, you have something that could actually impair your ability to do that exam and do it in a good condition, then you want to be clicking yes and following up with the relevant steps for that. Linked applications, these refer to people who want to link the applications together. So my understanding of this is, let's say you want to apply with your husband or your boyfriend or your best friend or whatever, and you want it in a way that you guys would be allocated to the same place, then you could link your applications. So I think, I don't know if that's changed, how that works is you sort of get allocated to, oh, sorry, I need to start heading to work. I think how it works is I need to brush up on details, but I think you get allocated based on the score of the person who, the lowest scoring person. So obviously have a good think about that first. And I think the link automatically gets broken if somebody gets placed on the reserve list. I'm not very clear on the details anymore, but all the information you need would be on the UKFP website, so please go and read through that. Now this is more more directed at UK medical graduates. If you want your score to be shared at your medical school, then you click yes, otherwise click no. But if you do get an exceptionally low SGT score, it will be shared regardless. So they've also let you know about that here. Next. So we're almost there, almost there. Now, one of the questions I get asked a lot about your preferences and your ranking. Now, it's as straightforward as pick where you want to go to first. If you want to stay in London because you have family in London or you just like the London life, click London first. What are the chances of you getting to London? They're good enough if you actually get a good score. You will not know what kind of scores you get. So it's your duty after you put that, you've ranked wherever you want to go to then go and put in the work for your SGT. Right? So where do I want to go to? I'm going to rank that as number 1. So let's say I want to go to East Anglia. I'm going to put that here as my rank number 1. If I want to go to Leicester, leaving Leicester, I could put that as, or second, I could put that as number 2, or drag it back all the way and put it as number 1 there, because that's where I want to live. The tools that help you with this, I think Mesli has one of those tools that makes it sort of easier to rank based on specialty or location. So what I would say is try and have a read, go through the track, see what if you're thinking more like I'm not really keen on going to any particular place, I want these specialties, which is what I sort of did. Pick that then. So go through the tracks, look for the filter out the tracks that have the specialty that you want, look at where those areas are and then rank those areas. If you're not somebody who is so familiar with the UK geography, you don't know where certain places are, Google is your friend. So if you want to go to Derbyshire, for example, I think that falls under Trent. So you would click and then say, where is Derbyshire? What foundation school would Derbyshire fall under? And then you rank that as it should. So you could also just leave it the way it is and sort of randomly let it allocate you as well. I think my understanding is if you don't rank, then it sort of ranks you or allocates you wherever. So if you have a particular place in mind you want to be putting that in. And yeah, your chances are good at getting wherever you want to. Just do well in the SGT. The other funny thing actually that works is if you're putting on the reserve list, you might forget your first choice depending on how low you are. So because from what has been sort of going on with the last couple of years, they have been creating spaces. So you could end up still getting your first choice in London at the end of the day when you got a low score. So put in where you actually want to go to first. Yeah, I think that is the main thing. And after this bit, then you sort of go through, confirm, and submit. So that I will stop sharing now. Okay, so yeah, basically that is what you need to know to actually apply. It's pretty straightforward. But yeah, if you have any questions, leave that in the comments section below. I would try and aim to upload as soon as I can. I probably will not be editing this, but yeah, all the best for your applications. Congratulations to those who've gone through eligibility, and we hope to see you start work soon. Bye, guys.